Hello, the game has started and it is me to go first. I have a fairly balanced rack. I have Brood on the rack and Prob, but I think Brood looks fine. Not a good pickup, just consonants, so I played five tiles and picked up 5 consonants. That's quite unlucky. I'm fortunate to have the one vowel that I did hang on to from the previous rack. Opponent plays I, and I can't play it across the top of DE. I don't have an O or an I. And I could play bop, ire. I think bop, yeah. Because that gets rid of both the P and the B. The other option would be arb. That's 24, but a worse rack leave. Better score, worse rack leave. $16, extra 8 points. I think I might keep the board tight and go with arb. Hopefully draw some vowels. Just draw the one vowel. Unfortunately, back in that tricky position of dealing with an unbalanced rack. I have Pav and Dep, 22, but look at the rack leave. Pretty awful. I have Jap and Pa. Pity I don't have the R for Jarp. That's 17, creating a hotspot for an S hook. I takes an N. That's no real use to me. I have plant on the rack, but JV, pretty awful rack leave. Ajar scores reasonably, but leaves an awful rack leave again. So I'm needing to balance score and rack leave. Because I'll just keep heading into this territory of struggling to balance the rack if I keep playing off just two tiles each time. Now plant is 15. At least I'm likely to draw some vowels. Let's see what opponent does. Love to get rid of the J and the V, but that's not happening. Not with these tiles. Opponent taking some time with this move, perhaps close to a bingo. Plat. Looking at words ending in AR. apart from ajar, planar, $16. Opponent still taking. Okay. Barnia comes down. Now, Ajiva is good. So that... Oh, I've only got the 1A. That's a shame. I suppose I've got jail. I only have the 1N, so no ninja. Now Jap plays quite nicely here. Pity I don't have an extra A for Japan. That would have scored very well. Anyway, Jap for 43. Not going to do much better than that. The dreaded UV combo, but at least a little bit more balanced. I've got 2 vowels this time. Van, but nothing to go in front of PI. So what about Glen? It's 24. Or Glut. That's not bad as a rack leave. VEN. So I'm looking to get rid of V and U. Gov and VAR would achieve that. Poor score though. I need to keep piling the pressure on with the score. So Gov for 20 or VUG for 18. Gov, I like that, for 20. Gets rid of both the U and the V, which is exactly what I'd like to achieve with this rack. Opponent plays Fanned. I think I'll go with Gov, 20. Okay, finally some vowels. Enteral, eternal, not quite eternal. I have the enter component of a word. Enter. No, not seeing it. Opponent's play of Harry doesn't really help me. I could play something like Dean. How many N's to come? 4. So, yeah, 22 for Dean. Just wondering if there's a bingo through the V. Relevant, not quite. Interval, not quite. Okay, I think I'll go with Dean for 22. Okay, it's looking a little closer to bingo territory. Loiterer through an E. This E not quite enough space for that play to happen. Is there a 7 here? Okay, a few floaters provided. Does the L help? Probably not. It duplicates a tile on the rack. What about the N? No, not seeing anything. And the O. Well, I can see truly, but that's just a 16-point play. Loiterer. What about rule for 8? Not rule, sorry, lure. Lure for 8. Unlucky pick. I had a perfect rack leave of ERIT. And I've duplicated the I. The N wasn't bad, but the Q killed it. So a little bit unlucky. I was on track to bingo there, I thought. No great spots for QI or chin, QIN. And opponent's play of Otik, 38 points. Wow. I was looking for hooks on Telona, but I just didn't have any on that last rack. Now I've got chin here, pretty miserly 14, but look at the rack leave. I'm going with this. Now that's a rack. Is there a bingo playable? I've got retrain and trainer and terrain, but the board as it currently stands doesn't allow for an easy hook unless it starts with a vowel, E or an A. Vivo doesn't help matters at all. Now what about the N? No, it doesn't look good. What a shame. So close to bingoing. The L, no, doesn't help either. How crazy is this? Play OR with retain as a rack leave. Wow. I know opponent's likely to play in column L anyway, but I think I'm going with this. Ouch. Of all the tiles I could have picked, the X was probably the worst one. X and the Z with only 2 out of 39 or 40 tiles that I was unlikely to bingo with. That was bad luck. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Oh, now X train. Sex train. Oh no, I'm mixing that. It's X. Is it X trains or triaxon? No, X trains. What am I mixing that up with? Retaxing works. What about this I? The S, definitely. I don't want to be missing something here. I'm going with retaxing. I might be missing something with the S. Zerantic, I think I was thinking of. Zerantic onto a C, starting with the X. Anyway, retaxing it'll have to be. 84. Now that's a decent pickup. Talweg, not quite. Waltzing through an I or a Z. Waltzing might be good as well. I have the wing component of a word. Opponent's play of Einer blocks quite a few floaters. My W plays here. If I don't bingo, I might have a decent play down here. Maybe Awn, AWN. Or, wow, look at this. Nor, keeping the blank. 39. But let me look at the S here. So, obviously a bingo is going to be better than Nor. Now there is an A to play through as well, so let me look at the wing component of a word. I don't think salt wing is a word. Stalling. I don't think you can. Stalling, no. Can't spell it that way. Wow, what to do? Twangles. Yeah, almost missed that. Now, good pickup with the Z and a few vowels, so I should be scoring well here. Play of za would be 66. Wow. Hopefully that remains available. Kaz is good, C-A-Z. I could play that here for 31. Kaz takes a H. One H to come. Saz is good as well. S-A-Z. Now, what about Cas? Duke takes an S. So, what about Zarties and Dukes? Even though Zar and 8 scores 66, this is the more dangerous lane with 2 S's to come and a blank. I'd be mad not to block this trip lane at the bottom, and I think I'm going to go ahead and play Zarties and Dukes for 56. So, opponent could potentially be bingoing here, pluralizing Dean, or playing through the K. He doesn't. My time is low. I've got to play quickly. I could play Wem and Cow for 36. I've spotted something here. Quim for 38. That's quite nice. Okay, I'm down to 42 seconds. I just need to find a decent spot for my F. And I could play of here at the top right. It's pretty mediocre, but it should score fine. Of and FE, top left. And I was just looking if I had a play here parallel to Hom. Don't seem to have a great option. Emus and so. Let's see what that scores. 21's not bad, but I'll go with of for 25. Better score. Opponent might go out with his remaining tiles there. Telts. Pause. Opponent does go out. Okay. So 446 to 322. Thank my opponent for the game. Now let's see what we missed. Back to the beginning of the game. So Boord is actually better because it doesn't leave a vowel next to the premium squares there. So slightly suboptimal, but not by much. Opponent then has IE for 29, goes with I for 24. Now, ARB was the one I played. That was the top simming play. And then opponent's got Na for 18. Hadian. Opponent goes with Banya. I think it's a tree. And then Jap for 43 looks fine. Delph, opponent goes with Fand and Vulgar onto the AR. That's one way of getting rid of the V and the U. And the G not particularly great on the rack either, without the I. So I do like Vulgar, but pretty similar equities. And opponent's got Henley for 40. Wow, where was that? Banyan and Henley there. Getting the Y doubled and the whole word doubled again. Banyan, Henley. Very nice. Opponent goes with Harry. And then, there was a bingo through the V. Nervelet. A small nerve. That's gutting. I have played that word before, but I just didn't spot it on this occasion. Anyway, Opponent has non-elite as well. He misses a bingo, so one each. And now I took a while on this rack. I just couldn't see a bingo. And as you can see, not great scores on offer. Just went for lure to balance the rack. And now opponent's got a pretty decent rack, but no bingo there. Egoistic through an I think is good. Anyway, Otik, okay. Chin for 14 looks okay. Slightly better rack leave, but 21 at 7A. I did actually look at that spot, but I thought that's just too easy a comeback score for opponent with 5 eyes unseen. And I know I had another eye on my rack, but yeah, it's just too easy a 40-point play on a silver platter for my opponent. So I thought I'd go with the safer spot and the slightly better rack leave than that one. Ogives for 28. Opponent goes with Vivo for 10. And yeah, I'm wondering if there was a bingo through the V. Veratrin. Veratrin wouldn't have fitted anyway, and I think it's the only one. So, yeah, even if opponent didn't play Vivo, I wouldn't have had a playable bingo. So here I went with or. Now, what were the options? Virant. From the V, I did think about playing onto the trip, but I would have been dismantling a beautiful rack and leaving a whole bunch of floaters for opponent to play through. So I wasn't crazy about that idea, even though the score is quite healthy, 30. Vayner as well. So that was my thinking. It backfired a bit. Vigias from the V. Opponent also had a 36-point play. That's quite a good score, which is what he went with. And then retaxing the only bingo, I picked up one of the only tiles that didn't form a 7, and with retain. So retaxing came down for 84. Ina for 32. Top play by opponent. Nice. Now Twangle's the only bingo. I almost missed it. And that came down. And now I'm about 2 bingos ahead. So tricky for opponent to get back in the game. Although not altogether impossible. You could get a bingo score with the Z and then a bingo with the blank. So Duke, opponent could have scored 40 but keeping 2 U's. Wow. That's, I don't know if I'd want to do that. Goes with Duke, and I pounced on that. I know that the 66-point play seems like the better option, but my play of Zarti's not only killed this row 15 as a high scoring bingo lane, but it also killed the useful E floater. So I thought there was good strategic merit there in blocking that. Now laziest, wow, look at that. Laziest, 72 points, but leaving the L directly below a triple word square. I would have been out of reach anyway after a 72-point play, but Zach's also a big one. But I just thought, kill the lane, limit the bingo scoring potential, and that's what I did. As it happens, opponent did not have the blank and was stuck with these 2 U's. So a million miles from a bingo, but scores well with Hom. But look at the rack leaf, yeah. 2 U's can't be best. Quim for 38. Quim's... I should have played the S off. Yeah, just for an extra 11 points. Wow. Didn't think of that. Just saw Quim and jumped on it. Now, Pud 31. ASU blank, yeah. Pud. And Oftest for 28. 14A. Oftest, yeah. Oftenest. It's a good score. Yeah, I should probably have looked a bit harder, but I was low on time and just went with what I thought was the highest score. And then opponent's got a few outplays and goes with pause. So that was the end of the game. Couple of misses. Hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.